is here on the show this morning. As always, we love you to be a part of the conversation. So let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 or just tweet at smooth98. Well, welcome back, Rotus.
Hey, Zibby, good to be with you all. Good morning to you. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers out there.
All right, so let's get into the conversation. Now, there are reports of over 300 passengers being stranded as the Warri-Itakpe train derailed, once again caused by harmful activities of humans.
Yes, so I think the last time I was on with you, we are talking about Edo State and how some folks were kidnapped there. I think it was March of last year, Abi, was it? No, that we had the, was it March? Anyway, I know we had the Kaduna incident. I think it was March of last year.
February last year, was it?
Yeah. So February, March of last year. Okay. So, if we continue to see, I think what was said here in the Kogi forest area for this Warri-Itakpe line is that it was due to possible vandals, because these trains don't move that fast, right? So it's not like they're overspeeding. They're not bullet trains, so they're not overspeeding and then getting derailed. So if you think about the fact that our rail infrastructure still has a ways to go and confidence needs to be built up in this particular, infrastructure, then the implications of this is that, you're just going to see less people traveling by rail. And something just has to be done about the level of poverty in this country. If you don't do anything, then you're going to continue. And also you have to beef up security, of course. But how much security can you line up across rail infrastructure in the country? Which security person is going to stand in a forest for how many hours just to wait how many hours for a train to pass and make sure people are safe? It's like saying that you need to put a security checkpoint on every point of your travel from home to your office or something. It's almost impossible to do. So, for this administration, I guess they're on their way out. It's too late for them to try to do anything with respect to improving poverty levels and so on. So we just, hope that people are safe and look to the next administration to try to do something with respect to improving conditions for everyone, because rail is just not happening for rail in this country. It's just not happening at all.
So speaking about rail, though, what is the state of the rail infrastructure in 2023?
Yeah, it needs to be beefed up significantly. I know we'll get to President Buhari and him commissioning some stuff in Lagos where he's going to be disrupting traffic and so on. But rail is incredibly important with respect to trade and with respect to moving goods up and down the country. And when you think about the fact that we move most of our stuff by road, I think 96% of goods around the country are moved by roads. That adds to the stress on the roads. It adds to traffic gridlock and so on and so forth. And I think the Nigerian Railway Commission, they've now suspended that Warri-Itakpe service because of that derailment. So, the state of travel, even I don't think they're priced properly. So from a profit perspective for the government, they're not even making that much money off the tickets, because when you think about where inflation is and how much tickets cost, so they're not making money off them. They're not moving as many goods. They're not safe. The state of infrastructure, rail infrastructure in Nigeria, is still heavy, needs improvement, still has a ways to go.
Okay, just to confirm, the Kaduna attack did happen in March last year. Rail attack did happen in March.
Thank you. All right, so it was March. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a comment made in Davos by Mexico's rail by Larry Fink, I beg your pardon. Did I say Larry Flint? Larry Fink. So Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. And can you share and relate with what he said? Can you relate it to Nigeria?
Yeah. So he was on a Larry Fink. BlackRock is one of the biggest asset managers in the world. I think the assets under management are in the trillions of dollars. And he was on a panel with Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is the Director General of the World Trade Organization. And he was talking about how Mexico is best positioned to profit from what he called supply chain reconfiguration in the United States. That's basically, I think, America just trying to depend less on China and foreign countries for its supply of goods and to try and domicile them more in the US. And since Mexico is America's neighbor, he said Mexico is best positioned to benefit. But he said there were four metrics for why Mexico is best positioned to benefit from supply chain reconfiguration in America. He said 1, low wages; 2, an educated workforce; 3, rail infrastructure; and 4, a business-friendly political environment. So it got me thinking about here. I mean, we have low wages here, so we have that one. But are we productive? Are we as productive here in Nigeria as Mexico? No, we're not. We have an educated workforce. You're educated. I am educated. Our listeners are listening. They are educated. But do we have as many with respect to the population of our educated workforce versus Mexico? No, we don't. Then 3, he mentioned rail. That's where my ears picked up. He mentioned rail infrastructure. Mexico has developed rail infrastructure to where you can import goods from the US and get them from the ports quickly to the other areas of the country. And that's why we're talking about rail now. So we don't have that. And then 4, a business-friendly political environment. We don't have a business-friendly political environment here in Nigeria because we keep talking about ease of doing business and the issues. So those 4 metrics, and when you take that and apply it to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, where we're hoping that Africa trades more, how many of these African nations have low wages? All of us have low wages. So our low wages aside, how many of us have enough of an educated populace, a good rail infrastructure, and a business-friendly political environment to galvanize trade? So when he said that, it just made me think about how much more work needs to be done here in order to boost trade.
All right. The president is in Lagos for 2 days to commission projects. What's the economic impact of these projects?
I think he's going to do the second half of the blue line in Lagos. The Blue Line rail project to run from, I think, mile 2 to Marina or so. Then the 32 metric ton Lagos rice mill in Imota, and one express route from Eleko to Ekpe T Junction or something like that. But I think the most important one of them is the Lekki Deep Sea Port. And when I just talked about ease of doing business, the fact that Apapa is still lots of gridlock. So for the Lekki port, which of course the Dangote refinery is there and so on and so forth, that is an economic zone that is supposed to generate exports for the country. And also, if businesses move to collecting their goods from that side of town, you're looking at an easier way for goods to come in. The only fear is, I think they've been developing the roads around there, because I drove to Ekpe Fish Market, the place I like to go often to go and get seafood. They've widened the roads there. So they're trying to widen the road networks so that you don't get a repeat of what happened in Apapa. So it's the economic importance is pretty heavy. The rail line, blue line, we're talking about rail in Lagos. We still have a ways to go, but particularly the port is the biggest one there.
All right, this is an interactive show, so if you've got any comments, you want to just ask a question, you can do that. The WhatsApp number is 0809 440 and 981. So Rotus, our first Monetary Policy Committee meeting of 2023 is actually starting today. What can we expect from the MPC decision tomorrow?
Well, I think they may hold rates where they are. They historically they increased rates to about 16.5%. That's the benchmark, the MPR, the monetary policy rates, which is pretty much impacts lending rates across the country. And they were hiking it because inflation was rising as well. I think it reached a high of 21.47%, but now it's come down in December to 21.34, I think. So when you've got inflation running rampant, you raise rates in order to try to cool the economy down and constrict demand for loans and so on and so forth. And in an effort to try to tame inflation. So what do I expect tomorrow? It's possible that they will probably keep rates where they are. I mean, I know some people are saying they might still raise rates, but they've been raising them for about 50, 100 basis points on average last 5 cycles. So I think they will keep the benchmark rates where it is at 16.5. Now, mind you, when you've got it that high of a benchmark rate, that means if your floating rate loans, the cost of borrowing will go up, which has its own economic impact. But because inflation is the main target for the Monetary Policy Committee, they may just not change it. I mean, we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I think it's only the European Central Bank that is possibly saying that it may continue to raise rates. In the US, we're seeing inflation come down in Europe. We're seeing inflation come down in the US. I think it's coming down in Asia. Also, inflation coming down in Nigeria. So maybe they'll just keep things where they are. But we'll find out around 2 o'clock, 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. We'll see what happens.
We've got some messages coming through. Gilbert Musa says, on our undeveloped rail network in Nigeria, it's on record that from Ebutemeta in Lagos, Nigeria had a vibrant rail infrastructure till after 1982, when it dipped gradually to its current state. And Yinka says, how do we manage this issue of humans cutting off rail tracks? Is it like we have citizens who don't want to see things work, or the punitive measures are not tough enough?
Good question. I think it's again, that's what I said earlier. And thank you guys for your messages. I think it's a poverty thing. People are cutting those lines, so I think they can go and sell them for parts so they can make money. So when you've got inflation as high as it is in Nigeria, you've got I hear they are going to be looking at, I think you talked about it last week with, is it Kelvin or Oname? They are reviewing minimum wage, but we won't see the result of that until 2024 or 2025. You got to improve poverty. If you beat down poverty, people will not be motivated to. Somebody got electrocuted at a transformer, didn't they, last week or so, when they tried to vandalize some wires. So you gotta do something about poverty in Nigeria.
Well, is poverty a valid excuse for people to commit crimes?
Well, desperation, Zibby. When people get desperate, they turn to crime, they turn to other things because they need money. So you just, I mean, punitive laws, yes, you got to crack down, but also improve security situation, improve the welfare of people as well.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for Business Express this morning. Thank you so much, Rotus, for joining us.
Thank you. Catch you guys tomorrow.
And that is it for Business Express. Do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.
Future Forward Banking.